p-O-r-Nline Church, March 21st, 2022. Online church uses the same tactics and business model, for lack of a better word, as online porn does. And if no one has brought that up yet, or pointed it out, here's a finger to point at a voice crying out in the wilderness of the interwebs. First, let's get the porn dealt with, because it's the truly shameful part of this article, and not the potentially shameful part. Online porn is worship, plain and simple. And I would argue most pastors get this concept because they know the sacrifices to this deity personally. Find a pastor that hasn't struggled at one point with the frankly unfair advantage lust has these days with online porn. It's as common as their testimonies. It's as common in their testimonies as the word just is in most people's prayers. And the reason being that lust figured out a way to no longer need to attach itself to a temple prostitutes, or even prostitutes for that matter, in a general way to tempt the Christian man at large. Or in other words, it no longer needed human bodies to tempt human bodies to sin with. It could keep everyone nice and separate and damn people by Christ's declaration that to look upon a woman lustfully was tantamount to adultery. Online porn is the ubiquitous access that all sexual creatures' sinful desires wanted, fully realized for one's purpose and one purpose only: to take the tempted out of the game. It uses its consequence-free action of sexual temptation as a cultural diluting agent. A man who is spending his free time masturbating to porn and getting his sexual satisfaction from himself is not pursuing or getting the same from a spouse. Husbands turn to porn when they are dissatisfied with their wives. Boyfriends turn to it when they're taking too long to get engaged and unliking the price tag of what it used to be a good deal. And porn is the church of our desires. Having doors that are never closed by big government or social media, it is all but enabled by big tech. Big pharma is there too, but only for anecdotal pills and supplements for anecdotal enhancements. A porn user is likely never to need when we get down to brass tacks. Porn's success is that it has no immediate consequence for use. A man using a prostitute has an immediate series of consequences to contend with. Did anyone see him? Did he catch a venereal disease from the prostitute? Did his wife know where he was? Did his girlfriend follow him there? Sex in real life has consequences. Illicit sex even more so. So lust moved online for its worship because then the consequences can be obfuscated, even intentionally made temporal. An incognito browser makes a session of self-satisfaction something that would cease to exist the second you close your window. You can't undo what was done to another human being, but porn would have you not be able to even undo your last explicit browsing session. Online porn wants you to visit often, but doesn't require you to be caught there. It will take your money, but gives most of itself away for free. It has options for every appetite you might have. It has music to put you in the mood. It has pictures and movies and steamy stories to engage viewers deeply. It has a local mission at the very least people in your area that want to chat. It can be live streamed, but the most popular content is almost always something that has already happened and is in the past. It is in fact multiple pieces of content, often ripped together to form longer pieces of content. So one piece of porn becomes many smaller, more consumable pieces of porn. It isn't locked down to one location, but rather accessible from multiple places. And its sole intent is to attach you in as many ways as possible to get you plugged into a regime of use and tastes. Though to be fair, they would use the word kink and session interchangeably there. Uh-oh. Online church's sole purpose is to get you engaged in a small group and community through, let's be honest, we call them mid-sized communities. We want them to grow together. Right now, we're locked down, so gathering together is impossible, but we're not just a location. We can gather exclusively online. We have live streams on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our webpage. Speaking of live streams, you can catch the best parts of our social media accounts where we capture the essence of our teaching and worship and make them bite-sized for our congregation so they can catch up through the week on their preferred content platforms. We have people in every community and city that can be live in the chat while the recording is rebroadcasted. Make sure to check out our social medias for our ministry's exclusive content, and check out the new music from our worship and arts department. It really is moving and inspirational. We have multiple ministries for you, and we would love for you to get involved in. If you're a member, you can tithe by clicking this link to support the mission, but tithing is only for members, and our church's services will always be free. You don't have to come to one of our campuses to be involved in our church. We have a pastor for online ministries. We want to help you connect with our church where you are. How in the hell did this bit of consilience happen? It happened from pastors and church boards understanding enough of the internet to use it, but not enough of the internet to understand it. To understand what we proposed by online church at all would be exactly how online sin works, and that's a problem. What's the solution to that problem was also. Nowhere else could you use the same means of sin as a means for salvation. No one is stripping for Jesus or offering massages to the Holy Ghost. There are no thieves for Jesus, no murderers for Jesus. And while the internet is filled with a host of good and righteous things, none of those things are using the strategies of sin to literally do church. I've written elsewhere about the insufficiency of online church, so I won't repeat myself, but the similarities are too close to mention it. At the very least, say it out loud on a real browser so my actions are permanent on the internet. If a church is okay using the strategies of online porn for ministry, why not use the sites themselves? Many porn sites offer a place for amateurs to host their own videos with little or no oversight except for an easy to bypass age check. Are you at a church that wants to reach your city for Christ? Have you considered posting your sermons and worship services on Pornhub? Because your congregation's members statistically and regularly visit there, or else you wouldn't have at least a noticeable segment in your men's and recovery ministries. If that last line made you cringe a little bit, good. It means you have a working conscience, and that's a good thing. Churches are using the internet wrong, as evidenced by their strategy and lack of a theology behind their use of the thing. Yes, thing. The internet is not a place. It is an infrastructure of things. A place is an infrastructure as well, but it facilitates people to be together without the infrastructure mediating the connection of togetherness. A pavilion is an infrastructure that facilitates connection as well because people can gather inside it, but a traffic jam, while more complex and with more potential to move, is still infrastructure that is very much a bunch of people in the same situation, but not together. We get out of this convoluted and dangerously converging problem of the church's use of the internet by using it correctly. The internet allows for the cross-proliferation of ideas, for things to go viral, but only if those things can and are posted everywhere people look for those things. So instead of posting things in a few places, internet ministry should be focusing on a wider net. A church website that hosts streams and one or two options for live streams only works for the church's uses because it assumes that the church can be done online, which it can't. See my article here. But the message of the church to spread to every location it could be, drawing people from where they habitate online to local churches in the area because they can correlate to real-life congregations or places. It is the reverse of porn's online lie. None of the bodies you see while viewing porn want to or ever will be yours to have sex with, which is why lust wins so easily, because all it has to do is to get you to watch. But a church posting everywhere, not with the intent of keeping people behind their screens, but in gathering them together for communion and fellowship, it reverses that tactic, while still existing in an economy of views and trending topics. Imagine a new type of deacon whose only job is to serve the church is to upload videos to specific platforms as soon as they're ready. A deacon for Facebook, a deacon for Instagram, a deacon for Rumble, Reddit, Parler, Gab, Twitter, Pinterest, Twitch, TikTok, any place videos or frankly any kind of content could be posted. Imagine a church doing this for every sermon preached and worship song sung, an overflowing digital cup of God's love and the desire for all peoples to come to the cross, a viral movement that shakes the gates of hell, or at the very least stresses the servers of its works on earth. The question isn't if the church needs a theology of the internet. The question is, would it practice one if it had it? Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Ephesians 5:11, English Standard Version.